Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Yahweh Akwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. This one's another edition. I believe it's the 6th edition, if I'm not mistaken, of America is in a state of societal decline. And those of you that have been following this series, of course, it all started from a prompt that I put into ChatGPT of asking, if America felt like Rome, or actually I can go and see what I actually put. I'll give you the prompt. What I actually put, come on now, was if America began to fall like Rome, what would be the signs in a modern society? And that's an important part, is a modern society, because obviously being a modern society, it's not going to fall exactly like an ancient civilization would. There'd be some nuances, and I wanted to figure out what those would be, how those would translate, and of course, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, over the last 5 lessons so far, we've been going through one by one of these, how I want to say it, these, each situation that would happen or start to occur, right? And we went through 1, which was institutions losing legitimacy. 2, which was, constant infighting, between, in this case, it's like a 2-part political system, right? 2-party system, putting them at each other's necks. 3 would be economic decay masked by financial tricks, or aka lies. All right, the economy's great when it's not. Bread and circuses, the modern edition, people being distracted by, entertainment, movies, video games. Of course, those things are fine, but you can't let them distract you from the ultimate goal, which, of course, is getting the fuck out of this place, all right, and doing the work and the will, and the ultimate, that's the ultimate goal, and the ultimate thing you should be doing, for lack of a better word, is doing the work and the will of the Father and the Son, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And then, of course, 5, military stretched thin. We just did that one earlier today. Well, it's almost 2 a.m. now, so it's technically yesterday. But, we did that one, dealing with, lowering recruitment rates. ICE, struggling their ass off to get recruits. Military, they have to take everybody now. They have to take the she-he's and the they-thems and the what's-its and the wopsits and the zerzims and, kobolds, dragons, and warriors and warlocks alike. It's like a bunch of fucking fantasy shit. And they got to take those people now because it's really slim pickings. And then what we're doing today, Lord willing, right now, Lord willing, is number 6, infrastructure slowly rots. Okay, as you can see here, it says not everything collapses at once, just enough that it's annoying. Roads, power grids, water systems, healthcare, housing, repairs get delayed, costs skyrocket, and nobody's clearly responsible. Nobody's clearly responsible is really, it would be, a lot of that stuff is the state, all right? State, whether it be roads, power grids, water systems. State and water systems are a little bit more tricky, but I guess in that case it would be nobody's clearly responsible. But that's what we're dealing with today, right? Infrastructure slowly rotting away. So we're going to go down here. We're going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to grab some. So one of the overwhelming things that should come to mind, I guess, or one of the overwhelming concepts that should come to mind is that, a lot of these sure sound like they're already happening or are happening, and it's true. And that's, I think, where we're going to, Lord willing, like I said, through the spirit power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, everything's got to be done through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and everything's got to be done Lord willing, because, again, we don't know. Actually, matter of fact, let's go get the Lord willing scripture. All right, let's go and get it. Let's go get it. It's a good little bonus. Let's go to previous verse. So, James 4:14. Really, we can go to 13. It says, Go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Really, we could have gone through 12, I think, but 13's fine. And get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, or the next. It says, for what is your life? It is even a vapor. All right, you're here and you're gone. It says that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. It says, for that ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. So there you go. So if the Lord will, we do this or that. Because why? We don't know what's on tomorrow. All right, we don't know what's going on. All right. Hell, we don't know what could happen in the next couple of minutes. Right. So we always got to say Lord willing. And getting right into it, where do I want to start really off? When you see these things, all right, we can see all these things are happening, all right? And like I said, Lord willing, at the end, the conclusion of this, not this lesson, but the series, I want to type in down to chat, and I want to say, well, something along the lines, well, aren't all these things happening currently? And see how it reacts. And it'll probably try to filibuster and say, oh, no, everything's fine. Meanwhile, it labeled everything wrong. That's with society now. And what would happen in a falling society, right? That's how they do it. It could be World War III already, and you could be typing to ChatGPT and be like, no, World War III hasn't started yet. So, and I don't remember who I heard it from. I don't remember if it was chat, something a brother posted, or something someone online posted. But someone basically said, oh, we're pretty much currently already in World War III because if it was going to happen, right, which it will, because when World War I started, they weren't calling it World War I. That would assume there's actually a gag, I believe, in Family Guy, where somebody goes back in time and they're like, oh, whoa, it's World War I. They're like, there's going to be another war? Let's see, Family Guy joke. Let me see if I can find it. They weren't calling it World War I, all right? And they really weren't even calling it a world war. And World War II, they weren't calling it World War II yet either. Let me see if I can find it. Let me actually ask chat. What show had the gag where I think they went back in time and said World War... Come on now. One. And the person freaked out and said, there's going to be another world war? Something like that. No, it was a comedy. Maybe even a cartoon. Wish I could find it, so I'd play it if I could. Nah, I can't find it. Can't find it. Where were we? Anyway, but it was a funny gag, all right, because they went back and accidentally said, oh, World War I. I said, what do you mean World War I? You mean there's going to be another World War? So, yeah, that's the thing, all right. What was World War... Okay, let's go. What was... Here's another question. World War II called while it was happening. These phone screens are way too small. During World War II, people just called it the war or World War II. No, people really didn't call it World War II. They just called it... So it said Roosevelt called it the Second World War in 1941. UK was just called the war. So It depends. All right, and you can go and look what was World War One called? I think it was like the Great War. Yeah, the Great War, or simply just the war. Okay, it was just the war. So right now it's the wars. All right. Oh, there's wars going on. Oh, they're in war, but generally it's not called. World War II while it's happening. All right, that's usually, I'd say posthumously, but in this case, World War III will be posthumously, the death of Esau society. So posthumously works just fine. So, we're building. Everything's going to happen. A lot of things got to happen. And in that is infrastructure rotting. And we see this already, right? Roads, all right? That's not even something that really needs to be described. It's like I'm a little rambly. I get like that at night. But, hell, I'm like that a lot, to be fair. But anywhere pretty much I've gone, at least if you're in a big city, it's not even just in a big city. If you even are on those back old country roads, those things are horrible. All right, potholes everywhere, crumbling, cracked ass roads. Roads that you go down, you got to go slow because they're uneven, right? And the city's not fucking repairing them, and they're not doing anything. All right, they're just leaving them. Okay, so that's infrastructure that's rotting away. Power grids, every once in a while. The power grid isn't as strong as the average American really thinks it to be. It can go down really easily, all right? And that's another thing that's going to happen coming soon is rolling blackouts. There's going to be a lot of blackouts. You're going to be sitting there and all of a sudden, and they have those in other countries, mind you. They'll just be sitting there. I think a lot of the Middle East countries, somebody recently on Reddit was talking about how in their country, power isn't necessarily a guaranteed thing. It's something that's normal, you have it there, but there also, could be times where you go without. America, there's not really a time where you go without power, okay? We pretty much have it all given times from the time we wake up, we go to bed, and if there's a power outage, what the fuck are you going to do, all right? You can't watch TV, can't play video games, can't charge your phone, all right? So, and that's, and you say, oh, you could do other things. Yeah, but in a modern society, people are ingrained to these things. They're accustomed to these things, all right? Their speakers, their TVs, their computers. Unless you got a laptop, but that's only going to last for so long until it dies. Same with the phone. And, with all these things happening, people are going to lose their mind. Because in American society, power is guaranteed, all right? Not in other countries, it's not, like the guy was saying, you might be sitting there watching TV one minute, and then, pew, it's not just you, it's the whole city goes out of power, and then it'll come back an hour or so later, right? And that's going to start happening here in America, and it's going to be more unpredictable, all right? There might be weeks without power, all right? There might be power shutoffs every minute to the point where it's just really annoying, where you keep on, you watch TV, pew, then it comes back on. Oh, you watch it. Pew, shuts down again. And you're like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to read a book. Right? Better light a candle. Right? So, that's what we're heading towards. We already got the roads. This is the power grids. The power grids, we already have random power outages. All right, that happen sometimes. With seemingly nothing more than a storm. Okay? So, when you got interference from other countries that start to happen, all right, like China and all these other places, they can take a power grid down real easy. They just haven't done it yet. Okay, again, everything has to happen on the Lord's time frame. Nobody can act outside of the time frame, whether they know they're operating on the Lord's time frame or not. All right, and those guys don't know they're operating on the Lord's time. They think they're doing it all by themselves. That's the illusion of free choice, and their hubris, really. But it says water systems, healthcare. Well, the infrastructure for healthcare is fucking abysmal. All right, abysmal. The health provider I have, that, like I mentioned in my past lessons, the shit I got going on with my ear, all right, and the inflammation in veins and certain shit I have in my neck, I can't go and, I'm sure I could probably, through Yahweh Shemi Shai, I'm sure if I went to my PCP, my primary care physician or practitioner, whatever it is, and I go in there and then I look into it, I could probably get a recommendation for them to go and actually do some treatments. I'm sure after I jump through a million fucking one loopholes. But what I'm getting at is that the health provider I have, doesn't do, what do they call it? Ear, nose, and throat. They don't do ENTs. They don't provide for ENTs. Okay? So, or at least no ENTs here in Vegas accept it. Right? So, what's the fucking point? All right? And then you have that guy, Luigi Maggioni. He went out and shot a healthcare CEO. Who was it? What was the guy's name? It was United Healthcare. United Healthcare. I was just about to look it up, but I remembered. 3 Halbach shot. Brock the Halbach shot. United Healthcare took out the CEO of United Healthcare, and then they started. People were actually celebrating, and people were like, "Why are you celebrating this murder?" And people were celebrating because they said, "Oh, the policies loosened after him," and I was actually able to get assistance, and I was actually able to get something approved that I've been needing for years. That's a damn shame. That's not good infrastructure at all. That's a rotting infrastructure. Okay? And then time went by, and now everybody said they're actually probably even worse now. Right? So that's the type of shit we're seeing, right? It says repairs get delayed, costs skyrocket, infrastructure. That's another thing, the infrastructure. What if you define infrastructure? Let's go and get that. Infrastructure. Define.
Infrastructure.
Okay. The basic physical and organizational structures and facilities, buildings, road, power supplies needed for the operation of a society or enterprise. Now, it goes on with organizational structures and facilities, but really, supermarkets and food, all right, and it also says housing. Housing, those are things that is really infrastructure. They are infrastructure. They are requirements for a sound society. And all those things are going away. You can't afford housing. We don't have affordable housing. We don't have affordable groceries. They're not paying people. All these things are crumbling away. They're collapsing. And, eventually, as we're already in Jacob's trouble, as we get further into it, this is eventually going to lead to you're going to go into places and there's not going to be anything. Okay? You're going to go into a store and there's not going to be anything, all right, because the infrastructure is going to crumble away even further. The factories are going to shut down. The manufacturers are going to go out of business. The farmers are going to have issues and crop issues. So you're going to go in and there ain't going to be no TVs. Why? Because Toshiba ain't producing shit. Sony ain't producing shit. LG ain't making anything. So there ain't going to be no TVs. You're going to go and look for some fruit, and the fruit's not going to be there because, well, all of the farming equipment, all right, that is needed. Well, John Deere went out of business, and all these other places went out of business, so you don't have that. And the things that they did have, got broke or aren't working so well. So every once in a while there might be some fruit, but they're not able to produce it on a large scale, so it's going to be empty, right? It's going to be empty. There's not going to be anything. Okay. So 2 Esdras 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So places that were once full, they're all going to be empty. That's crumbling infrastructure right there. All right, the warehouses, they're not going to have anything in it. And if the warehouses don't have anything in it, warehouses and the boats and the trains and the semis that go and ship the shit out, they're not going to have anything to ship out. If they don't have anything to ship out, there's not going to be anything in the stores. So you're going to be asked out. You're going to be asked out. So let's go to we'll continue on really to 23. It says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Excuse me. In verse 24, it says, it says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. Know how it doesn't say the end of the world, it says the end of your world. All right, this world. All right, the world as essentially we know it. The earth's not going to crumble in half. I know a lot of those end of the world videos, they show like the earth crackling and crumbling and, like the core heating and the world becomes superheated. No, that's not how it's going to. Well, the world is going to become superheated, but well, not the world, but notably localized in Babylon, all right, the United States of America, to become extremely hot, all right. Same thing in Israel as well. But those are the only two places that are going to get like that with complete and utter destruction through the ICBMs. A couple other places might be hit, all right, some things off the coast, all right. I'm sure, if you're close to a place that got, hit with nukes, there's going to be repercussions, fallout and different things like that. Power outage, other, vast different things. But the total destruction is going to be in Babylon the Great and Israel. So, again, the infrastructure, it will not be able to withstand. It will not be able to withstand. It will completely crumble away. And you're going to go and look in a place, and there's not going to be anything, man. There's not going to be anything, okay? Not so much as a damn skateboard. So, not that you would need one in those days, but let's get Isaiah 6 and 9 through 11. And it reads, 16, right? I see where I was going. So I just wanted to start from 9. I see. Slakia. So Isaiah 6 and 9, we were right where we needed to be. It says, and he said, go. I want to read up, actually. Well, I'll start from 8. Isaiah 6 and 8, it says, also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. So this is to the people that can't understand, they can't get this truth, right? They don't have the grasp, all right? 2/3, right? Isaiah 6 and 10. And the point here is right here at the end, or not in this verse, but in 11. It says, make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. So, unless the Lord reaches out to you, you're not going to be able to get this understanding. And how long are you going to have that lack of understanding? Well, verse 11 tells us, it says, then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, and this is the point for the lesson, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. Okay? And we got to continue on from 12, and then we'll come back. It says, and the Lord have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. So going back up, getting the scripture shows you that there's going to be people that are not going to be able to get the understanding right up in the very end days. But what we got it for is it shows you that in the end, the cities are going to be wasted without inhabitant. All right? And the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. Now, what is desolate? Okay? Desolate is the key word. Desolate.
Desolate.
So it says, deserted of people, and in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. Bleakly, we need the verb, not the adjective. This is what it really means. Bleakly and depressingly empty or bare. Okay? Devastate, ruin, right? Wreck, right? Wiped out, obliterated, depopulated. All right? And, you're going to see, when you roll through a town, all right, if you're even allowed to, all right, because that's another thing, shall desire to enter a city. Second Esdras 15:17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Look at that. Michael's comment on 2020. USA will be destroyed. Look at that. That's a great comment. There you go. USA will be destroyed. Absolutely. I don't know why it's not giving us the, usually you can go and get it, but we'll go 17. Right here. Actually, we'll go up from 16, 15, 14, 13, 10. So, you see it's going to be talking about Egypt, but again, there's a place spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Okay, and that place is Babylon the Great, and that's Revelation 11:8, where that scripture is. And it says here in the King James Version, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. He was crucified with the ideals and wickedness in the society. All right, they blaspheme in his name. They talk shit. All right, they're horrible here. In the Ant Bible, it says, and their dead bodies will lie exposed in the open street of the great city. It says Jerusalem, but that's not what it's talking about, which is a spiritual sense is called by the symbolic and allegorical names of Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. Okay, other translations go off. This is dealing with Babylon. And with that, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Now we're going to know talking about Egypt when it talks about Egypt as before. Right? Verse 10, 2nd Esdras 15 and 10, and it reads, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. It's telling, and this is not in Exodus. This is already, past that. So this is in the Apocrypha. So it says, Egypt will plague as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. All these things are going to happen in Babylon. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with fearful constellation. So all the crops ain't going to grow. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. It says, for their sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men. We've talked about this, like it says, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in the power. So people are going to be killing their next door neighbors and everything. Some man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods. Spoil, that's taking them, right? Because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. So there's going to be, lack of bread. That's famine. All right, there's going to be famines in the land. Okay? It's going to be bad. All right, there's not going to be anything. So if that ain't crumbling infrastructure, then hell, I don't know what it is, right? Because that is textbook infrastructure crumbling away. So that's what we got for number 6. I only got a couple more here. A lot of these are just talk points. Really, the only one we have left is 8. Culture fragmentation. We already, it's like it says, C number 2. So culture fragmentation deals with constant infighting. We'll talk about those a little bit with closing notes and stuff like that. Probably just finish it up. Probably be, we'll see if I can get some scriptures here, but more than likely, we might just finish this up with, Lord willing, number 7, right? 7 is completion. So, Lord willing, tomorrow, everything goes, well, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. I'm alive and well to do it. We'll finish that up, with cultural fragmentation, laws stop being applied evenly, which of course goes back to number 1, institutions losing legitimacy, which is tying in with number 3, and 8, okay, laws stop being applied evenly. So that's in there. And then, of course, reliance on outsiders to hold things together. See number 5. All right, that's dealing with the, those guys are eventually going to turn on Babylon, turn on the whore. All right, that's what it's talking about if you see number 5. Revelation 17:16 right there. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore and make her desolate, I believe, roughly paraphrasing. And then, of course, normalization of decline, closing points. And that's what they're doing right now, all right? They're normalizing this. Oh, no, everything's fine, everything's fine. Oh, no, everything's okay. Meanwhile, everything that happened in the fall of Rome is happening right now. So, if that's what happened in the fall of Rome, what do you think is going to happen to Babylon? It's going to fall. And that's it. That's it. So, that's what we got for the lesson. All right, Lord what was edifying. Again, this was America is in a state of societal decline. America is in a state of societal decline. And that's where we're going to close it. All right, Lord what was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak. I want to say shalom to your brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.